So welcome to our PAC 76 Blue and Gold and Arrow of Light ceremony this evening. So my name is Harry Harkrow. I am the Scoutmaster for PAC 76. And you know, I started in this PAC when my oldest son was a Tiger. That was quite a while ago. But at that time, Maxwell used to come to our meetings in preschool. And then he came again in kindergarten. And then he finally joined the PAC when he was a Tiger. At that time, we didn't allow lions into our PAC. So Max has been coming to these meetings with me and Harry since, gosh, over 7 years. So I think in that time, I think Maxwell's probably been to possibly 150 PAC and DIN meetings, as well as numerous Pirate Derbies and Space Derbies, and visiting the news stations and all of those things. Well, today we have a few celebrations. The first one is our Blue and Gold Banquet, where we're celebrating Scouting. And then after that, we'll celebrate our Weeblo-2s as they end their Cub Scout career and move on to Boy Scouts. So I call up Mr. Zeimer. He'll be our dinner for the posting the colors and the pledge.
Will the audience please rise? Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, cross the colors. Color guard, post the colors. Scout salute. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
That's not like a question.
Please face our packed flag. Give the Scout sign and receive the Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times and keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Please recite the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Color guard, return to ranks. Color guard, about face. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, at ease. Audience, at ease.
Of the BSA. Theodore Roosevelt, the first honorary vice president. In 1930, Cub Scout acts are authorized to register with the Boy Scouts of America. Uniforms for boys are $6.05, and 5,102 boys, 1,433 pack leaders, and 243 packs are registered during the first year. In 1936, dead mothers were allowed to register. In 1941, the Weebles rank was created for 11-year-olds. In 1943, the first blue and gold banquets were held. PACs sell war bonds and war stamps. In 1953, the first Pinewood Derby is held in California.
In 1956, the first Cub Scouting books are printed for the blind and braille. In 1969, Eagle Scout Neil Armstrong radios greetings from outer space to scouts attending a national jamboree on his way to become the first man to walk on the moon. In 1975, the Weebles to Scout Transition Program launched. In 1982, the Tiger Program is launched for first graders. In 2016, the Lion Program is introduced for kindergartners. Boy Scouts of America, which includes Cub Scouts, currently has over 2.3 million registered scouts.
Scouting has had a long, rich history in the Colorado Springs area. The Colorado Springs Council was founded in 1916, later changing its name to the Pikes Peak Council in 1925. From July 22nd to July 28, 1960, the Reverse Diamond J Ranch north of Colorado Springs was the fourth largest city in Colorado. As 55,000 scouts and thousands more adults converged for the 5th National Boy Scout Jamboree. This marked the 50th anniversary of Scouting, and Dwight D. Eisenhower was in attendance. This is the largest single jamboree ever held. Many local place names mark the occasion: Jamboree Circle, Explorer Drive, and Chapel Hills, where the Scout Chapel was located. In 1986, when the Space Shuttle Challenger disintegrated over the Atlantic Ocean, an American flag sponsored by Troop 514 of Monument, Colorado, was on board. It was later found unharmed, sealed in a plastic bag. It has since been returned to Boy Scout Troop 514 and is now known as the Challenger flag. Please join me in singing Happy Birthday to Scouting.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Scouting. Happy birthday to you.
And we're going to have a couple of comments from our Pastor Bob from Clydesdale Methodist Church.
You can't also. Okay, all right, okay. Never tell a preacher that he can give remarks. Well, we're so glad that you're here, and we're so glad to be sponsoring PAC 76. My name is Bob Kaler. I'm the pastor here at Charlie Lakes United Methodist Church, and we welcome you, and we're so glad you're here. And it's always fun to see the boys come in and to see all the great stuff that's going on here during the week as they work together. So feel free to let us know if we can ever be helpful to you all. But we're excited to sponsor this marvelous program that helps young men grow. And I love the scout oath. You know, that idea of being physically strong, morally straight, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. So thank you all for being here.
Okay, will Noah Clysmith please come up?
Please join me in a prayer. We fold our hands and bow our heads and thank thee, Lord, for daily bread, for home and school and family. We give our thanks, O Lord, to thee. Teach us to be both brave and true. Bless our banquet, golden blue.
Okay, so we'll start eating. I have Max Zeiner and Daniel Geyer, please. So they will release each table as we go to eat. So those of you who are scouts, or been around scouts a lot, know about the fabulous scout entertainment that we put forth.
Hey, boys.
So we're going to have our skit presentations now. We're going to start off with our lion and tiger den, and they have a skit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the world's famous inventor. I made a Loudon machine. When you put something in it, it grows bigger.
It's dangerous.
Oh no!
Good job.
Okay, guys, we need to reflect on our day at camp. For the most part, I think it was a good day. What do you think? But there's one thing I think you all know about. And I'm only going to say it once. Who pushed the tent over that cliff over there?
Not me.
Alright, guys, let me tell you a little story. When George Washington was young, his father had a cherry tree that produced lots of cherries every year. One day, when his father came home, his cherry tree had been chopped down. And when he asked his son, George, did you chop down my tree? George, being honest and brave, said, yes, sir, I did. Then his dad said, since you told me the truth, we'll pick all the cherries and make a big cherry pie for you. So, one more time. Who pushed the tent over that cliff over there?
Not me. Not gonna go with me. Come on then, you're going home. But why? George Washington got a cherry pie and you took the tree. George Washington's father was in the church and George Washington.
George Washington was in a tree when he dropped it down.
All right, our final skit is from our Weebelows den.
Wow, this camera TJ's horrible. Oh, this camp coffee tastes terrible. Oh, this camp chocolate milk tastes horrible. Oh, this camp punch is horrible. They're finally clear.
All right, thank you, Scouts, for our Scout entertainment today. So I want to introduce some of our special guests today. We have Troop 17 in attendance, and we have Assistant Scout Master Lenny Tardif. And we have our District Director from Jamboree District, Monica Kennedy. And she's here to speak with you about our Investment in Character program.
All right, first, can I get 2 volunteers to help me pass out something? Can I get this tiger right here? You were first. And you to help me out too? All right. So what I'm going to have you guys do is, one of you can pass out a pen. And then you're going to pass out one of these brochures to each of the grown-ups, okay?
Okay.
All right, then just go ahead and follow me. All right. Hi, guys. How are you today?
Hold on.
There's a lot of enthusiasm. Let's redo that. Hi guys, how are we doing today?
Amazing.
Great. I'm all about enthusiasm, so if you can't tell, I'm all smiles and bubbles over here. So just let it happen. It's gonna be great. So the boys are gonna come around and pass out a couple of a brochure and a pen for you guys about investment character. I'm gonna try not to take too much of your time tonight, just to kind of explain what that is. By show of hands, how many of you know what investment in character is? Okay, just a couple. Cool. So an easy way to explain it is a PAC is funded through popcorn and camp cards, different fundraisers that you guys do, and also unit dues, right? Well, the council is very similar in that it is run through popcorn, camp cards, and investment in character. So this is our annual fundraising campaign for the council. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. Yeah, so that's the easiest way to kind of go over it. The brochure you have in front of you is going to have a lot more information in depth on what that is. I'm sure you guys have all gone through their public school system and know how to read, so I'm not going to repeat all of that information, or maybe you went through public school system and don't know how to read. Just kidding. Okay, cool. Trying to joke, guys. It's pretty funny. All right. But there's a couple of things I want to point out that are some major scouting highlights, especially for the Pikes Peak Council. So in the very middle of your brochure, where the staples are, there are 3 important numbers I'm going to draw your attention to. The first is last year for Scouting for Food, which happens every year in April. Scouts in the Pikes Peak Council collected 25,000 pounds of food for our local food banks, Tri-Lakes Cares and Care and Share, which is really amazing. So let's give all of our scouts a round of applause for that. Okay. What's amazing about that number, guys, is we are a fourth of the size of Denver, and we collected 2,000 pounds more food than Denver Area Council did. That's amazing. We are able to help serve our families in need during the summer. A lot of our communities have need of free and reduced lunches during the school year, and during the summer that program is not available for a lot of our families. Care and Share actually provides a food bus that kind of goes around and parks at different schools in the area to help provide that during the summer. And that's what part of that food goes to. It also helps, we have wildfire season, we all know about that. This is a good way to help stock the pantry before wildfire season helps, so we can help our communities before we need to. The second number is 65,000 community service hours were provided last year from Pikes Peak Council Scouts to our local communities. That's amazing. Those service hours are amazing through different projects that you've done with school cleanups or church cleanups or you name it, the Scouts have done it. It's pretty great. That's another one where you're supposed to be odd people and clap. Okay. Keep clumping, I guess. And then the very last one is 200. Last year there were 200 Scouts, young men at the time, young men that earned the rank of Eagle Scout, which is a very coveted rank. Only 4% of Scouts earn the rank throughout their scouting career. And so we have a really good average in the Pikes Peak Council, which is amazing. Each of those Scouts did a service project, a leadership Eagle Scout project for their community. And each of those projects has about 200 to 500 community service hours that are done inside that singular project, which is really, really awesome. Again, so this is just to illustrate Scouting's impact to our, quite literal, our community. Like our Arrow of Lights mentioned earlier today, the Pikes Peak Council, or a version thereof, has existed in Colorado Springs since 1916. It was started with 5 boys, and they met in downtown Colorado Springs in the Hibbard department store, in case you wanted to know. That's why it's called the Hibbard Scout Shop, where you buy all your uniforms. And it was the only place in town that had the Scout shirt, which is pretty cool. Lots of fun facts. Scouting is one of those things that is funded locally. We are not something that's funded through the national program or through the government or anything like that. All of the dollars that are raised stay in the Pikes Peak Council area, and I think that's really important to know with investment in character. Everybody gives and everybody participates in scouting for different reasons. I'm sure Not many of you know who I am. My name is Monica Kennedy, formerly Monica Webb. Not that you really need to know that. Got married this last year, which was exciting. Thanks. My parents felt that same way too. But I have two younger brothers, both of which grew up through scouting here in the Pikes Peak Council area. We're a military family, and so we moved from California and started scouting just a little bit later than most people. So my brothers started when they were, I think, a bear and a weeblo is where they started. Anyways, they went through the program. They both earned Eagle Scout individually. Both went on to summer camp at Camp Alexander and staffed there. Both are now married and have kids and are really great and are kind of giving back to the program now too. I was not afforded that same opportunity, which I think is great now that we have that opportunity for families that want to be participating in that. So yay, that's exciting. But the point I'm trying to make is that scouting makes an impact on many people, and for whatever reason you're participating in scouting now, thank you. Whether it's Johnny came home from school and said, I got this really cool flyer and they talked about babies and archery, can you sign me up, let's go to the meeting, or whether you had a good influence in scouting in your life, or you don't have that good influence and you want to join a program that you know and love and have known for over 100 years. Scouting makes an impact. I'm involved and in the position that I am because my youngest brother, like I said, gone through scouting. He knew everything through scouting about bicycling, and on his way to high school one day he actually got hit by an uninsured motorist in the middle of the road, flew 20 feet from the point of impact. His bicycle, if you can imagine it guys, folded in half like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You can't make that up. The yard that he flew into, or landed into I guess is probably the better way of describing that. The parents that were putting in their kids into their minivan to get ready to go to school, they were den leaders. And those den leaders provided first aid to my brother that literally saved his life. And if we didn't have scouting in the Pikes Peak area, my brother wouldn't be here, quite plain and simply. And so I will forever be grateful for scouting. And everybody has a story like that, or everybody has a different reason for being here and wanting to participate. And I ask that you think of what's meaningful to you. And so what I'm asking for tonight is a commitment to scouting, a commitment to local scouting, I'll put it that way. If you turn with me to the very last page of your brochure, it's a pledge card. I know nobody likes this time of year, I'll be honest. But what I'm asking for is a commitment, something that you're willing to put pen to paper to commit to by the end of December of this year. If your family happens to have the ability to support scouting with the family level gift, which is $190, you get a fancy patch. Mr. Harry, can you point to your council patch on your
I
side?
have two of those fancy patches at home. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the one that's
Just like this,
model.
but the
Thank
ones
you.
that they give out are different. They're like
Yeah.
unique, special edition patches.
Yeah. So this year we're highlighting obedient as the point of the scout law that we're highlighting, and the Manitou cliff dwellings are on it this year, which is pretty nifty. We like to highlight some different things. Yes, Air Force was great. If you're able to support at that level, you get a handwritten thank you note and that patch. If you're motivated by patches. If your family happens to be able to provide at the $500 level, we are technically a child care facility, and so donors at that level receive the Colorado Child Care Contribution Credit, or CCCC. It's a big fancy way of explaining that you get 50% back. It's a 50% tax credit back on top of state and federal deductions. And on the opposite page, there's a little breakdown of what that looks like. So you can see that basically your out of pocket for next year would be $172, depending on your tax bracket and all of that fun stuff. Don't ask me those questions. I am not analytical in any sort of fashion. But if your family is not in either of those situations, please just give a contribution that you think is meaningful to you. $20, $5, $50. Every little bit helps. we've only been able to survive in the Pikes Peak Council area for this long because of you guys and because of the families before you. And so I really appreciate your time and your effort and everything that you do for scouting. And I really want to just make sure that that impression is made. It's pretty simple to fill out. PAC number 76. We're part of the Jamboree District, which is why that was highlighted earlier today if you didn't know that. Your contact information, pretty simple. And then annual level billing, you can choose whatever you want to. If you want to be billed the third Monday of every other month, write it down, let me know. It's up to you. And then there's payment methods on the side if you want to put that down. But I'm more than happy to just collect a pledge card with just a commitment, like I said, with we can bill you later and all of that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for all of your time. Thank you for investing your time into the youth of our area. Thank you for investing your dollars in your PAC. Thank you for just investing in your patience. Thank you for listening and laughing at my jokes. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Again, once you are filled this out, please tear off your back card and fold it in half. I'm sitting right here in front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go stand back by the drink carrier things. What do I call those? Like drink carrier things. Works just fine. I'm going to stand right back there. So once it's folded in half, I'll put it inside a sealed envelope. I'm looking for 100% participation. Even if you can't give it this time, just write a big old 0 on it, or not at this time, or contact me later. I'm looking for 100% participation from the PAC tonight. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Thank you, Monica. So she mentioned a couple good things here. So I've been a little remiss in some of our scheduling, because it's been a busy month, right? We've had the Pirate Derby, and then getting this all together and all the help we received has been busy. And John, when was our Scouting for Food scheduled for? Next Sunday. Okay. So sorry to pull that up on everybody. Last year we weren't able to do it because we had a blizzard that day. 2 years ago, our PAC, we raised over 950 pounds of food for Trial Lakes Cares. So Monica's saying that 25,000 pounds in Colorado Springs, our PAC did 1,000 pounds. So we did 1/25 of the entire city. So we're hoping to do that a week from tomorrow at Walmart from 10 to 4. I'll send out a sign up. It takes 1 hour time just to stand out there and hand out flyers, asking people as they go into Walmart to come out with something for a donation. Right. And then she talks about the number of service hours. So every year in our PAC, there's a road that Trial Lakes United Methodist Church adopts. That's Roller Coaster Road, from 105, and I forget where Royal Troon or whatever it is. There's like about a 1 mile stretch. We clean that up every year, and that's where we do our service hours. And you'd be shocked about, in this neighborhood, how much trash is on that road. I don't know where it comes from, but we find, and it's too, I don't like kids having to pick these up, but we find liquor bottles, and so I don't know if it's from the golf course or people throw them out the window, but it's shocking that when we do that, and you've done it before, you know what we're talking about. I don't know, what did we end up getting, like 7, 8 bags of trash out of that one stretch of road that when you drive by it, you don't see anything. But you walk down that road. So anyways, our PAC does work on those programs. So will the members of the Weeblo 2 Arrow of Light Den please come up and we recognize the hard work? Maxwell? So each of you, a small gift for you. So take this, and then we'll sit down over here, grab a chair. That's Joy DeMarco, and then Luke Penny, and Maxwell Hartgrove. So let's move on to the Arrow Light crossover ceremonies. Before we begin, I'd like to take a minute and share a little background information for the benefit of those who are new to Scouting. Weeblo 2 is a 2-year program The first year as fourth graders, the Scouts work towards Weeblos rank. The second year as fifth graders, they work towards the Arrow of Light. The Arrow of Light Award is the highest rank that a Cub Scout can earn. It is the only Cub Scout rank that is authorized to be worn on the Boy Scout uniform. Receiving the Arrow of Light is a milestone event in a Cub Scout's career, and tonight we honor that achievement. The road to the Arrow of Light is not an easy one, and this accomplishment is not to be taken lightly. These Scouts have demonstrated commitment and dedication to see a task through to the end. In this end, there is a new beginning of new leadership for tomorrow. We gather here tonight to honor these young men. They have walked the Cub Scout trail as a Tiger, Wolf, Bear, and Weeblo Scout. We have the special privilege of witnessing the presentation of the highest award in Cub Scouting, the Arrow of Light. But first, we need to test the Arrow of Light candidates. So this isn't a written test. We'll put down your gifts and come up here. So walk over here in front of.
Hi.
So the last required adventure you guys worked on was called the Scouting Adventure. That was the adventure where we learn what it means to be a Boy Scout. We learn about the different ranks. We learn about how the requirements we have to go through to earn that rank in that process. And we created a patrol, which you guys have. And we act as a patrol. We've done it for most of the year. And what was your patrol name, Maxwell?
The bowls?
You remember? You have them. You have really cool
Yeah.
patches.
I don't know. I think it was the. I don't have the pack, but I think it was the bowls or something.
Okay. So anyways, also part of earning the Scouting Adventure was talking about Scout Spirit and how you're filled with Scout Spirit and how that happens. And Scout Spirit really is how do you apply the Scout Oath and the Scout Law into your everyday lives. So John, can you dim the lights, please? So we have a test to see if you guys are filled with the Scout Spirit. Now we learned earlier about how Colorado Springs has a rich history in scouting. There's also some very mystical places here in Colorado Springs, mystical to some of us and to who came before us. Some of the Native Americans who used to live here. Places such as Garden of the Gods and Pikes Peak. Now earlier this week, I went up to Pikes Peak and I got some snow from Pikes Peak and I let it melt into my Boda bag. So those of you who know what this is, when I was young, we didn't have water bottles. If we went camping or hiking, we got a canteen. It's usually a big metal thing, right? We also had these, this is called Boda bags. And so that's what we used to use to carry our water. So I'm gonna have you guys each stand here in a line, Max. And I want you guys to look out onto your scouts. I want to think about the Scout Oath and the Scout Law, what that means to you. I'm going to place one of these cups in your hand, and I'm going to pour in some of the water from the top of Pikes Peak. And if you're filled with Scouting Adventure, with the Scouting Spirit, it'll go through your body, through your hands, it'll go around the glass you're holding. And if you have that spirit, then there will be a sign. So I want you guys to, and I want to take this serious, I want you guys to look out and individually look at the scouts that you spent all this time with, that you've done adventures with, that you've done power derbies with. When you think about the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Look straight ahead. Look straight ahead. All around. Both hands covered. Don't do anything else. Straight ahead. Joe would the same thing. Hands all around. Look straight ahead. Hold it up. Take your hands away. So it looks like it's glowing, so I can see that you guys have the Scout spirit.
Do they drink it?
So congratulations. So before I proceed any longer, let's take a moment to reflect on their journey thus far as we listen to the different voices of the Cub Scout. Can I have Eli and Holden and Cooper and Nicholas and Daniel?
I am a Lion Scout. The Lion rank is 6 when you began scouting. As you receive your Owl of Light award and your Cub Scout experience, now just remember, I'm just beginning mine. I am a Tiger Scout. I am a Tiger Scout. We began scouting by learning the law of the pack and the 3 words that inspire us to meet all challenges. Do your best. During this year, I earned the Bobcat badge, turning a good deed. As you receive your Arrow of Light, remember when you were a Tiger Scout.
I am a Wolf Scout. I have been on a few campouts now, and I am getting the hang of always being prepared. I no longer need an adult partner to be with me for each adventure, and now only have my den leader to guide me down the path of the wolf. As you receive your Arrow of Light and cross over into Boy Scouts tonight, remember your experiences when you were a Wolf Scout.
I am a Bear Scout. I am an experienced Cub Scout now, and I know what it means to do a good turn daily. The requirements for my Bear badge are more difficult, and I have also experienced the service side of scouting. I have been on many campouts, and I am starting to become a pro. I can even bring my pocket knife to campouts because I've earned my whittling chip. As you receive your Arrow of Light, remember your experiences and the lessons you learned when you were a Bear Scout.
I am a Weebo Scout. You know me very well because for just a little longer you are me. I retired and can now change from my blue uniform to the brown shirt they also wear in Boy Scouts. Now that I am older, I am more aware of my actions because the younger Scouts look up to me. There are 2 rank badges for Weebos because there are so many activity badges required. As you retrieve your Arrow of Light and cross over into Boy Scouts tonight, remember your experiences and lessons when you were a Weebo Scout.
Thank you, Scouts. Can I get support
Hello. So it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the PAC 76 Arrow Light candidates. First up is Joey DeMarco. Come on up, Joey.
Hey, Joey.
There, Joey. Did you drink that? The next Arrow Light candidate is Maxwell Hartgrove. Maxwell. And last but not least, Luke Acapinti. Stand up with your fellow Arrow Lighters. So, as Cub Scouts, you've been guided through the Cub Scout trail with the help of many call-outs. You've been called before the pack, your family and friends, because you have satisfied the requirements for Cub Scouting's highest rank, the Arrow of Light. In PAC 76, we recognize that this accomplishment would not be possible without the support of parents. And for this reason, I would like the parents of our Arrow of Light candidates to stand behind their scouts. Moms and dads around. At this time of rank presentation, the Arrow of Light will present to the parents, and they will pin it on their scouts. Please do not go more than a half inch into the flesh. And you do that, and Harry's going to get the pins, and then moms, you can pin them on your sons.
So first we begin lighting symbolic candles. I'll be Mr. Kleisman. So the first color is to remind you of the lessons you learned as a Cub Scout. Blue represents the spirit of Cub Scouting, the spirit of giving goodwill and doing your best. Scouts, do you promise to fulfill the Cub Scout promise, the Cub Scout motto, do your best when you receive your Arrow of Light badge? If so, say I do.
I do. I do.
The second symbolic candle color is white, which represents the Scout law. Youth adult leaders will truthfully show you the skills you need. It will be up to you to live up to the 12 points of the Scout law. Daily you'll be faced with decisions, and at times the trail will seem difficult to follow. Make your choices by always remembering the Scout law. In all that you do, Scouts, do you promise to be forever trustworthy, loyal, hopeful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, reverent, brave, clean, and reverent? If so, say I do.
I do.
The third symbolic candle, yellow, stands for the Arrow of Light. Within the teepees of many braves, the Arrow of Light has an honored place. Its shaft is straight and narrow, just as the path that you Scouts should follow throughout your life. Its tip points the way to success in all that you do. It is pointing to the right. A symbol, nothing should be left undone. If it is within your power to do, see that it is done. And lastly is a symbol of the 7 rays of the sun, one for each day of the week. This is to remind you that every day is a new day, a day to do your best in everything, a day to honor your God and country, to do your good turn, and a new chance to follow the Scout law and remember these words, on my honor. Each of these candidates has blazed his own trail toward the Arrow of Light Awards, and now the Arrow of Light will help him remember his promise to keep the spirit of Scouting alive. Scouts, do you promise to let this light shine forth from you and to set an example for others to follow in your footsteps? If so, say I do.
I do.
Now the first badge that any Cub Scout earns is the Bobcat badge. And that badge is pinned upon a Scout's uniform upside down by their parents. And once the Scouts have performed a good deed, that badge is then turned right side up. So it is only fitting that a parent pins onto the Scout's uniform their final award, the Arrow of Light. So Joseph DeMarco, with the promises you have just made, I, Akila, have the distinct honor to present you your Arrow of Light. So Maxwell Harper, with the promises you have just made, I, Akila, have the distinct honor to present you with your Arrow of Light. And Luke Akapin, with the promises you've just made, I, Akila, have the distinct honor to you with your Arrow of Light. So parents, please pin those onto the uniforms. Turn around. You put it right in this spot.
Is there kind of upside, downside?
It's still.
No, I mean the arrow of light,
Yes.
like left, right.
That's the best part.
Oh, I gotcha.
Boy.
We should have had a run through of this,
You know what?
right?
You're lucky, because if I had used a match, you would have had a safety band. You'd have to try not to stab yourself.
Any blood?
It's mine.
These Scouts have faithfully promised to keep the spirit of Scouting alive. As parents, do you promise to continue to support your Scout in all of his life's adventures? If so, say we do.
We do.
We do.
Congratulations, Scouts. It's a great honor for me to read all of you as recipients of the Arrow of Light rank. It is in to you, along with your parents, your Arrow of Light awards. Here's your arrow. For your mother, here's a certificate, which is patch. Which one of the boys got uniform? Maxwell, here's your arrow. Here's the certificate. So let's continue on and begin the crossover ceremony. So go ahead and set down or give your arrows to your mom, to your mothers. And then go ahead and stand behind the table with candles. So before we begin,
Sit down, Mom.
so the process is you will take your candle, you will go across the bridge.
Dinner or show?
And give us at least one memory of your time as a Cub Scout. So before we cross over, so these three boys have been together since they were babies. This is the third year together. And I do have one memory of all three of them. So every spring we do our final pack camp out at Farish, probably owned by Air Force Academy on the other side of the mountain. And 2 years ago, I recall, so we go to Farish. A lot of the kids enjoy fishing. There's they call it a lake, but it's not much more than a pond. We go fishing there, but the other big attraction is across the way, there's a bunch of these rocks. So I witnessed 2 years ago all of these boys with their fathers playing on the rocks. Please grab a candle. Maxwell, please approach the bridge. Stop. Stop right here. Thank you. So this candle represents your life as a Cub Scout. Are you ready to leave the pack behind and live your life according to Scout law and principles?
Yeah.
Maxwell Hargrove, your life as a Cub Scout is over. Please cross onto the bridge and share with us what your favorite memories of Scouting.
Probably Camp Alexander. And I went to the camp like every year other than last year. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I got to shoot like BB guns and do archery. And I went hiking. And we did skits.
To cross over and greet and do Scoutmaster. Kennedy, please approach the bridge. This candle represents your life as a Cub Scout. Are you ready to leave the pack behind and live your life according to Scout law and its principles?
Sure.
Luke Kennedy, life as a Cub Scout is over. Please cross the bridge. Okay, Luke, please share your favorite members of Scout.
My favorite memory or memories was probably when we were doing our first aid class here. And I think my two other favorite memories were going to the B-52 B-52 bomber camp out at Camp Farish multiple times.
Please cross over and salute your new Scoutmaster. Okay, Joseph DeMarco, please approach the bridge. This candle represents your life as a Cub Scout. Are you ready to leave the pack behind and live your life according to the Scout law and its principles?
Yes, sir.
Joseph, your life as a Cub Scout is over. Joseph DeMarco, please cross the bridge. Can you share one of your favorite memories of Pack 76?
Well, some of my favorite memories of Pack 76 was when I got to join Cub Scouts and I got to see Luke and do all the fun activities, and when I first learned how to go camping.
Please cross the bridge and salute the new Scoutmaster. Isa. Will the Webelos 1 Den please come forward? Max Seiner and Daniel Geyer. So you two boys are now the eldest members of our pack. Remember the example the Arab Light did and help provide leadership and kindness to our pack. Work the next year as they have in helping our pack grow. Continue with your efforts towards your rank achievements. With hard work, we will be back here in 1 year celebrating you as you earn your Arab Light and crossing over. Thank you all for coming and sharing tonight's banquet ceremonies. And I'd like to thank everyone who helped make this event possible. Our den leaders, Mark Reisiger, who's not here, but Corey Plysmith, and outgoing Webelos den leader, Michael Acapini, and of course, Monica Kennedy is a special guest, and representatives from Boy Scout Troop 17, and to the families who have brought us these scouts and the food for us to share. And thank you to all the scouts who participated in tonight's events. I'd also like to thank Pastor Bob, who did our invocation today, and Charlie United Methodist Church for their continued support as our charter organization. I'd like to thank and wish good luck to our pack of adult volunteers and parents who have also crossed over tonight. The spirit of scouting and doing a good turn, if everyone could just stay an extra few minutes, I'll clean up. That would be very helpful.
Take chicken.
Take chicken.
The parents of the Scouts and Troops.